For anyone that's not seen the past 3 reviews, you probably should. Over the past few months, we reviewed the first 3 seasons of Barney and Friends in their entirety. From 1992 From 1992 through 1995, the Barney franchise was owned by the Lions Group on their own. However, in 1994, they'd be renamed to Lions Partnership, now being a subsidiary to a larger company known as Lyrick Studios. The future seasons would take on a big refresh in terms of appearance and cast, thus beginning what's now known as the Lyrick era. Starting today, we're taking a look at the first season to where these changes fully took place, Barney and Friends, Season 4.
I had another hand.
Will this one help?
Barney!
All right, Jim.
Just to preface, everything, I was born in 1999, but grew up watching VHS tapes containing episodes from the first 3 seasons of Barney and Friends. I also grew up with various home videos that were produced around the time period that the Lyrick era falls under. So while I'm familiar with some faces here, I never really had the chance to watch the actual episodes from Season 4. I knew it was going to be different, but especially with how highly I held the first few seasons of the show, I knew this was something I had to be super open with. A lot of changes were made, even if subtly. Now with Lyrick Studios, the team very much was looking to refresh, as mentioned earlier, and many aspects follow through with this. The intro is entirely redone, animations, music, and all. The set is also newly redesigned, after Season 3 of the show overhauled it and used the previous look for the many home videos produced from 1995 through 1996. As mentioned in the previous Spotlight, an entirely new cast of kids are brought in, some that were introduced in the past season as small cameos, as well as a few that made their debut in home videos prior. The first episode of this new season is titled The First Day of School, and I honestly can't think of a better way to go about a soft reboot to the show than this. The outside of the school is visually different while still extremely faithful to its predecessor, and considering the kids are younger and fresh faces, it's treated as an entirely different school, essentially because it is. Normally these videos are structured with discussing the visual changes and characters first, then the music and the episodes themselves last, but I want to make a small exception here. The first episode in and of itself is brilliant, as because of its theme, they can absolutely get away with outright bragging about the new changes brought to the show's setting, even if not intentionally. Upon entering the school, the kids are like, wow, this looks amazing, and it does.
Well, Steven, what do you think?
This is really cool.
Oh, it's terrific, isn't it?
The classroom is so much more appealing to look at now. Not that it was a problem to begin with. It's just that now it looks less like a left to right soundstage and more to that of a fully imagined classroom. They even do a wide shot of the whole main area and it is huge. The treehouse also sees a massive redesign. I want to know who built it because it is beautiful. Stella returns and is just as wonderful as ever, but I'm starting to see some cracks. I guess I just sort of started realizing that having a character whose main gimmick is doing one specific thing and having them as a recurring character can become a tad bit tiring. This doesn't detract from her charm and presence in the show, I just enjoy when she comes and does more than just telling a story. Beforehand she'd come, tell a story, and then leave immediately. Now I enjoy it most when she tells her story and then does something even as minuscule as singing a song with the rest of the cast before leaving. It's nice. The kids are the kids, moving on. Actually no, I will say that in the same way I saw Julie being the best kid actor on the show back when she debuted, Marcus has the best acting this time around and I usually enjoyed his character most, even though they were all so wonderful. BJ and Baby Bop both have, also his name is Robert, by the way. That was a joke for those who don't understand jokes. You should probably watch another one of my videos where I explain the joke. BJ and Baby Bop are written so well this time around. Baby Bop comes off less than that of a baby here compared to the previous seasons, and more to that of a normal character, meant to be seen as the youngest of the group. She still has her signature voice, but no longer speaks of herself in the third person, and seems a bit more streamlined to the rest of the cast. BJ unintentionally bothers others here more than ever before, and it's actually kind of funny.
Oh, it works! Hello, everybody!
I have a request for all BJ all the time.
There you go, Mr. Boyd.
Thank you,
I was just
BJ.
leaving. It sure is noisy out here. Hi, everybody. Hey, we're having drum fun now, huh? I don't know what happened.
It doesn't make him any less likable, and I do appreciate them showing that, yes, you can upset people even when you don't intend to. It's just interesting that BJ is the one to demonstrate this most. There's an episode with a guest character called Mr. TikTok, and I don't like him because he's very clearly just a reskin of Mr. Tennigan from season 2, and I liked him a lot more. I don't know why I put that in the script, but I felt like I needed to say that.
But I'll be late if I don't hurry along. Time flies when you are having fun.
New characters Scooter McNutty and Miss Etta, a squirrel and bird respectively, grew on me as time went on. Early on, their puppeting was a bit off, and from what I understand, they were both played by actors that had little experience with puppeteering in general. At first, I didn't think too much of the two, being that they initially don't add much of anything to the episodes they're a part of, essentially just appearing to throw in a quick joke or two, or to briefly talk back and forth about the current goings-on before the show cuts back to the main focus characters. And in the end, they still don't really add much, but I grew to appreciate their inclusion.
It appears the spring hath sprung.
That clock will never tick-tock. Nope. Never, never.
They're charming, silly characters, and they're lovable, so they ended up being pretty great in my book. And also, I'm obligated to relay that her name is Etta because it's like etiquette. Her last name is Ket, so it's etiquette. So you can laugh now.
Wow. Hey, look at this. I bet I could climb to the top of that.
You're already at the top, idiot. If there's anything I can give Barney and Friends here that I feel hadn't been done too terribly well before, it's that it puts emotion higher up as a priority. Time and time again, the show would be criticized for how soft and sugary it could feel at points, with characters always smiling and little to no depth being brought forward. While I feel this critique can be a bit over the top at times, I can understand the concern. Throughout seasons 1 through 3 of Barney and Friends, there would be conflicts, but they would usually be few and far between. And I feel this became even more so towards the latter half, with this being the case, as well as the characters rarely showing any form of emotion not related to joy or a general demeanor. Any sort of depth or characterization that could be given to the cast of kids is essentially out the window. However, in this set of 20 episodes, it's made clear that the writing crew is focusing more on this as we see the kids emote more and more. Things don't always go their way, and sometimes they do get mad at each other, to the point where shouting is involved, while the acting isn't always there to back it up.
Baby Bop, I asked you not to touch my tower. I'm really angry.
The fact that it's written in to begin with is a big step forward. I do wish the characters had more moments in which they overcame these small struggles on their own, though. In the episode Waiting for Mac Rooney, Robert waits for a piece of mail to be delivered to him from his cousin. When the mail arrives, Robert is upset to find out that just about everyone else received mail except for him. Barney checks in on him by the treehouse to find that he is indeed upset, but makes the realization that although he didn't receive any mail, he understands that it could come some other day and that he still had fun. But Robert then credits Barney with helping him come to the conclusion when in reality, he did it himself. I feel this moment wouldn't have stuck out to me as much if they hadn't literally followed this up with them both singing a song about how you could always count on Barney. Barney helped them all to have a great time during the episode, but I feel it would have been nice to highlight that you can do things on your own and come to important conclusions on your own. Baby Bop even sung a song like a couple episodes prior about how she can do things by herself.
Being friends is very special. Be a friend and you'll be glad.
Speaking of Barney and characterization, I do wish they attempted on giving him more of his own character like they started doing with the kids. Barney's always known for being the jolly, upbeat dinosaur, but that's his whole character. From the first VHS release back in 1988 to this point, I don't remember a single time where we've seen him considerably upset, irritated, or anything. It's a weird juxtaposition too, because I feel his voice in any emotion other than just talking or being excited wouldn't work, but I'm not sure if it's because we've literally never heard it or if it just wouldn't fit. He's always come off as the perfect friend, which is nice to think about, but that isn't always a great thing. I love Barney, you all know this, and I will never not love Barney. He's my heart and soul. I do wish we could see more of him being himself and experiencing normal emotions. Maybe as a way of backhandedly teaching the kids that everyone can feel happy, sad, mad, or glad. I hope this didn't get too deep or anything. It's literally season 4 of Barney and Friends. I also don't want this to sound as though I didn't enjoy this season because, to be honest, I had an absolute blast during this watch through. Let's talk about this briefly. Season 4 of Barney and Friends would air in 1997. Barney's Great Adventure the movie would also be in production this same year. Both Bob West and David Joyner were off to Canada to film the movie, while Barney and Friends would continue filming concurrently in Texas. This means that voice actor Duncan Brannon would step in to voice Barney during the filming itself, but West would return to dub over his lines when he got back to the States. This also means that someone else would fill in to be in the Barney suit while Joyner was in Canada. This person being Josh Martin. You can redub a voice, but you cannot redub a physical performance, so Martin's movements as Barney were that of his own, and let me tell you, I was looking forward to seeing just how he'd move in the costume, and if it'd be off-putting at all, and it is very apparent the moment he hops on screen.
When I feel happy, I can smile, the biggest smile I know.
Martin does an amazing job at embodying the similar mannerisms to that of Joyner. I mean, it still threw me off, but it was never too distracting. You'd imagine that Bob West's attempt to dub over the lines that Brannon spouted in the episodes he had to fill in for would be distracting as they are, but in reality, they really aren't. I mean, there are times where it feels a little jank.
And we can't see the air, even though it's all around us. But we can breathe the air. Come on, everybody.
But overall, it's really not that bad. In terms of physical action, Josh Martin very much became my second favorite body actor for Barney the Dinosaur. It's such a nice, slight difference that I enjoyed quite a bit. Duncan Brannon has a slightly different cadence in the way he presents himself as Barney, meaning West had to match both that and the movements of Josh Martin in order to keep the flow of everything intact, and without kids at home asking, what is wrong with Barney, why is he talking like that? For what they had to work with during this hectic time, the performances of everyone involved, regardless of how different, is and should be highly respected, and they all did wonderful. Let's talk about the music. Bear with me. Even as a kid, I was not the fondest of the way the music started to sound. Starting from season 4, Bob Singleton would no longer be the main head behind the show's music. This would in turn go to Joseph Phillips.
Keep your eye on the ball now to make a hole in one. Oh, good.
I want to say this first, the music is not bad. It's literally very standard and sounds very good for what it is and the show that it's supporting. My only thing is that Bob Singleton's arrangements were Barney. Barney's instrumentation beforehand was very unique to the franchise. You could hear the instrumental of any song and go, that's from Barney, without hearing any lyrics to it at all. My only thing with the music now is that while it generally does sound pretty good, it almost lacked an identity in the sense to me that it sounded very just sort of generic.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P.
All of the staple music tracks brought back to the show had to be redone, and I didn't like a majority of them. This isn't to say that Barney should have kept the music as it was. With a refresh as big as the show had taken on for this season, it only made the most sense for this change to happen. Again, I want to stress that the music is not bad by any means, just to me it felt very run-of-the-mill for a kid's show. While I still ended up preferring the Singleton arrangements after my watch through, the new music stylings definitely grew on me a good bit more as time went on. I stuttered during that sentence, don't even pay attention to it. Some tracks even made it into my top 10 songs from the entire franchise up to this point.
I've got the sillies, and when you get 'em, you'll be silly like me. I can't stop laughing, as you can see.
The music seems to lack that oomph and impact that previous arrangements had, but at the same time, they still managed to bring a charm of their own.
I'm nearly done, I have to hustle, but not before I show my muscle.
I'll probably have less to say about the run of episodes here than before, and not for any bad reasons whatsoever. I'm actually torn because season 3 of the show felt so good to move through, and this season felt just as good, if not a bit stronger. It feels a bit more streamlined, if that makes any sense. The previous season did great at staying true to what Barney was, while season 4 feels like a genuinely good show with all characters having a bit more to say and do, as well as flowing better as a series. Just listen to this interaction from the 11th episode, A Different Kind of Mystery.
Red is my favorite color. I like red, but I picked out blue tennis shoes. That's my favorite color.
Oh, really? I like blue too.
Stuff like that, where the conversation doesn't have any real purpose and doesn't lead to anything, but is a vital piece of any realistic interaction between human beings, makes such a big difference in a show like this. Season 3 of Barney and Friends will always be my favorite, not because it was better, but just purely on nostalgia. Honestly, if I were to choose a set of episodes from either season that we've covered to watch in succession, it'd probably be from season 4. It's built so well and fills each episode with a central theme while never feeling as though it needed to reach for something in order to keep the flow going, or episodes that seem like an afterthought. Favorites of mine being Waiting for Macaroni, The First Day of School, Good Clean Fun, and Is Everybody Happy? For a season I was very hesitant to get into as a kid, I was pleasantly surprised by just how much the set of episodes kept a smile on my face, especially compared to the Lions era. Being the first full set of episodes under Lyrick Studios, season 4 of Barney and Friends shakes things up in a great way. It's generally the same ideas and formulas, but just with more added to the pot and stirred up to create an experience that's familiar, yet new at the same time. The next couple seasons we'll cover appear to continue the same formula, and I'm excited to see what will be introduced in these new outings. The Lyrick era started off strong, exactly as it should have, proving that Barney the dinosaur truly does have some staying power. Thank you to Emilia, Cameron, Junior the Hedgehog, Common J, Megly, and Nerdy Disney for supporting the stage.